Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of Bitrix24 Live. My name is Andy, and I'm the support manager here at Bitrix24 Gold Partners Interface. A little bit about us before we start this week's session. We are, as I mentioned, Gold Partners of Bitrix24. We're located in the US, in the UK, and in the UAE. And we offer a full range of different services related to Bitrix24. So whether you are just starting out and looking into Bitrix and seeing if it's suitable for your business, then we can certainly offer some support to show you Bitrix24 and make sure it's a good fit for your business, whether that's through a one-to-one demo online, or if you want us to present something to your team, then we can certainly do that. We also offer licensing. We offer implementation and installation services. So if you're looking at getting Bitrix on-premise, we can help install that, whether it's on a server in your office, whether it's a server in the cloud, such as Amazon or Google, or if you want a partner to host it, we can assist with that as well. Here at Interface, we also offer premium support services. So if you want to submit us a ticket, if you want to chat to us via live chat, or if you want to give us a call, then our premium support services do offer all these ways of getting in touch with us and sorting out any issues or problems or queries that you may have with regards to Bitrix24. So that's a little bit about us. Like I say, this session is every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and it essentially is here to help you with any questions or queries that you may have whilst you've been using Bitrix. We do ask if you do have any questions throughout the week, do please send them to sales@intraface.com, or if you have any questions, send them to andy@intraface.com, and we can start each session off with those questions. We have had some come in already, but do please put your questions in the box on YouTube, and I can answer them as we go along. So I have both a cloud version of Bitrix and an on-premise version, so I can answer any questions that you've got on either of those systems. One of the first questions that came through, and it's quite a common question with regards to security. It was with reference to, does Bitrix24 offer two-factor authentication? And the answer is yes, it certainly does. So if we go on to my profile, and then I believe if we go to security, you can see in the security section here we have two-step authentication not configured on this particular site, but you can do so by clicking on connect, and all you'll need to do is just go to the App Store and download the one-time password Bitrix24 app, and then as long as when you're connecting, it will ask you for a code. Go to your mobile app and you'll retrieve that code, and then you can log straight into the system. When you're setting the application up, you'll just need to scan the QR code with your mobile camera, and it will then associate the account with that application. Just a further point on that is that if you do want to force that for everybody that's on your system, we can click into settings here, scroll down to the bottom, and you can see in the security settings, make two-factor authorization mandatory for all users. So you can give them a window of time to ensure that it's enabled, so they don't have to do it straight away, but we can set that to 10 days. So that's quite a common question, but it's definitely a good one if you didn't know that Bitrix offered that facility. And that facility is available on both the cloud package and also the on-premise. Got a question, can I host my own domain? So if it's with regards to hosting Bitrix on your own domain name, then you do need a professional license to be able to do that. So if you're referring to having your actual system on your own domain name, so you can see here we have demonstration.bitrix24.com. But let's say you wanted to log into Bitrix on demonstration.interface.com, which is our site. You just need a professional license if you are wanting to take up the cloud package. All the on-premise packages allow you, I have an on-premise version here as well, all the on-premise versions allow you to host it on your domain name. If you're talking about the sites module in Bitrix, so if you're not aware, you can create your own website now in Bitrix. Then you can see in here, sites. Then you can certainly create your own website using the website builder tool, and you can host on your own domain name. So when you click on create site, you get all of the different templates in here that you can choose from, and you can customize that however you wish. Once you've set it up, you can click on configure site here, and then it just gives you the option to select the site address. If I click on the little pencil, then you can either host on your own domain name. So you do have to own the domain to be able to host it. So we own obviously interface.com, and we create it on a subdomain of that. So which is really good if you are using these sites for marketing purposes. So marketing landing pages, it means you can create an unlimited amount of subdomains on your own domain and host it on that. All you need to do is just update the DNS record within your wherever you registered your domain from with that CNAME record, and then it will point it to this particular site that you've created. If you don't have your own domain name, you are more than welcome to use a .bitrix24.site. You can put it in there. As long as it's available, then you can host your website on a Bitrix24 site domain. We would always recommend, though, have it on your own. It's obviously a lot more professional, and yeah, it's quite quick and easy to do. So I have a question, best integration app to do two-way SMS, make calls and add automation. It's a good question. I know the best way to do a two-way SMS is certainly Twilio. I don't know though if you can use the same Twilio number. I think we had this question during the week from a client of ours. I don't know if you can use the same number for SMS voice calls as well. We'd have to research that. You think with regards to the calling aspect, if you want two-way SMS, then the application that you're probably is going to be easiest and quickest to do is the Twilio application in the App Store here. So you can type in here category SMS providers, click on search, and then you'll be able to see Twilio here. So this is the two-way option in here to be able to not only send SMS messages out, but then if they were to reply from their mobile, it would check the number where that SMS was coming from and then sync it back to the activity stream of that contact. So as far as I'm aware, then this is the only one at the moment, but Bitrix have introduced quite a lot more SMS integrations now. You can see here we have a whole range of different ones. We haven't explored every one of these yet, so it might be that if you use the SMS API, it could be possible to do it. We've not checked those out. The one that I'm aware of is the Twilio. Hi Dean. If I have employees only needing access to leave management, is it possible to remove all the menu options on an on-premise? It's a good question. It's not possible as standard, so you can't remove all of the menu options on here as standard. Would need a little bit of tweaking to be able to do that. I mean, the absence management is available in here and workflow, and then if you don't see them in here, then you'll have to click into you can click into the workflows directory, sorry, and then you can find your leave approval in here. And these have already been installed, so you should see a green install button on here. And once you click on install, then obviously it will add it to the activity stream. With regards to hiding every menu item, yeah, it's a little bit more complicated than you might think. If we click into here, we can edit the site menu. So this is all the core modules on an on-premise version. I mean, I am aware that you've got an on-premise version, and yeah, so I guess I just need to find out from one of our developers here. I'm not a developer by any stretch, but you do have access to the files and folders in here, and the actual menu that you see in the left-hand menu is pulled from here. So we have a left menu on here, but yeah, I think, I mean, it is possible. It definitely is possible, but it does require a little bit of customization. So I've got another question just about that domain. How will I connect to my domain? I'm not 100% sure what you're referring to. Are you referring to Bitrix24 itself? So are you referring to your system? If you are, then you just click on the little pencil icon next to your name, and then it will give you the option to change the domain name if you're on a cloud version. So I showed you how to do the site, but if you have a professional license, you can click on the little pencil icon next to the logo, and it will give you the option if you want to use your own domain name for Bitrix if you do have that particular license. So that's how you connect your own domain name. Just to be aware that you can only do it once. So if you do have, if you change your mind after you've changed it, you can't change it back. So just be aware that it is permanent. So just have a think about what you want to call your name. How do we currently import two different types of tags at once using the CSV upload for tasks? At the moment, it records them all as one tag. How would you separate them in one cell? That's a good question. Let me just have a look on here and see what you mean. So if we click into here, and you're referring to these tags in here, so let's tag it as employee, installation, finance and robotics. Click on save. So let's have a look at what, and then let's just filter out here. So if we click on employee, so that's the one that I've got the tag. And then let's export. I would always recommend exporting first so we can see what it actually looked like. Oh, I might need to actually show the tags themselves. I might not be able to show you, but if that doesn't fix it, so if you might need to display the tags in the actual grid to be able to export it. Just see what it looks like. You can see in here the tags. See what it looks like in that export. This is taking a little bit of time to open. And then you should have the import template then to be able to import them back into it. So maybe try that. Yeah, I don't think I can. Let's have a look. let that load up. I'm not sure if it's crashed. I'll come back to that once it opens back up. So, how can I track and export call center status of phone calls made by a certain group of agents? Pipeline specific. It seems that I can't tie telephony and activity data sources together. I don't know the answer to that one. I'm very sorry. I don't use the calls. I'm assuming that you use the call center application. So there is an application for those of you that are unaware for telephony called call center. And if we go into here, we don't really. Let me just have a look. Telephony. So there is a call center application in here, I do believe, but I don't know too much about it, and I think that's what you're referring to. So I'll have to do a little bit of research to be able to come back to you with an answer for that one. How can I upload HTML files to it? Well, you can't upload HTML files to a cloud version of Bitrix. You would need an on-premise version to be able to upload any HTML file to Bitrix itself. So it's not possible on the cloud version. You can embed HTML in a Bitrix24 site, but you can't upload any HTML files to view on a cloud version. If you do have an on-premise, then the location to upload HTML files is just in your control panel, content, files and folders, and then you just upload your own file to wherever location that you want. How can I assign agents to a specific pipeline and adjust the lead value during the sales progression? I'd like to see the dashboard display this information. So, I mean, you can certainly do that. So you can certainly, how can I assign agents to a specific pipeline? So assigning agents to a specific pipeline in the CRM is, I guess, what you want to do is to be able to restrict access to a pipeline based on your sales agent. So to do that, you'd need to go into your CRM settings, into permissions and access permissions. And then you create a role for your sales team. So you might have sales team per pipeline. And what you can do in here is once you go into this specific role, you can see in here it will display all your deal pipelines. Okay, so it might be that you just want for cloud opportunities here, you want them to have access to all of the deals within this pipeline. And then you can restrict access to all the other pipelines in there. So you can see that I've restricted access to all the other deal pipelines. You would probably want to give them access to their own leads maybe, or you can give them access to them all. It's completely up to you. And then you might also want to give them access to all contacts and all companies. And again, it's up to you. You can set them to see their own contacts and their own companies if you wanted to. So now that we have this, what we can say is we'll call this the cloud sales team. And then click on save. So once you've created that role, you can then just assign it to a particular department. So maybe you have a cloud sales department. So you can see in here, I can find our departments in here, click on there, click select, and then assign them that particular role. That will then only grant them access to that one specific pipeline. So that's how you would assign a sales agent a particular pipeline. Now to adjust the deal value whilst the sale is progressing, then you just need some automation in place. So if I went to one of our deal pipelines in here and then click on the automation rules, and then whilst it's progressing, the only way you would be able to do it is once it progresses through the stage upon stage. And there is an automation rule in here that allows you to edit the deal itself. So you would click on for employee, and then you would click on edit element, and then you would remove the field that existed as by default, click into here, and then you would be able to, the income field is the amount and currency field in a deal. So you would be able to update it on here. So if you, I guess, trying to think how you would be able to do it, you probably have to have some form of calculation in here. So if you typed in equals, I'd have to get the calculations. I'm not 100% sure what the calculation would be. You could, if you look at it in this method in here, so if we said run, and then, in fact, now let's go into another area where you can grab a calculation. So in task, and then the deadline is in 5 days. So you can see here there are some methods of using calculations, especially for this. This basically tells you 5 days from now. So what we would probably need to do is we would need to find this calculation. If you've got a cloud version, this is what you would need to do. You'd need to find this calculation to be able to increase the income by a specific amount. I guess that's what you're wanting to do, because you won't know the fixed amount that it progresses by. So if you just let me know what you'd want to progress it by, then I guess I can go away, and maybe on Tuesday's session when we're looking at automation, I can find the calculation for you to be able to do that, or drop me an email and I can send it over to you once you need to work it out. But that's what you would use. You would use the edit element, and then you would have the calculation in here. You would take the amount that already exists, so in deal you would put income, and then it would be something like plus 10%. I know it's not that calculation, but it would be something similar to that. And then you can do it on each stage then. So you can do it on this stage, do it on this stage, and that's quite a common one, not just for the deal value, but it's a common one for increasing probability. So the deals have probabilities. So if we were to click on select field here and have a probability, and each time it moved up, we would increase the probability percentage to 25, and then we would move it to 50, and so on and so forth. And then based on that, then you would get that information within the CRM analytics, because all you are doing is you are changing the amount and currency field in your sales, which is the key value in this particular deal. So that's what this value is associated to. So you would need to make sure that that is the amount and currency field is the field that you are updating, because that's what all the reporting comes from. Is there any way for our CRM deals to show two different currencies for different countries? The same process. I think I've answered this one before, Kenny. There isn't, unfortunately, especially on the cloud version. There isn't. I mean, you can obviously create currencies, as I know you're aware, but for those that you are not aware, that once you go into CRM settings, you can set the currencies. I mean, it might be that if you had I know you're splitting it for two particular countries. It might be that if you had your deal pipelines for, if you would, you could do it in deals. I think you could. So if you had a UK pipeline and a US pipeline, what you could ensure is that for every deal that gets created, you could either use the automation rule. So you could either use this to do what we just did a moment ago. So if we knew that the cloud opportunities, let's say for example this was called the UK pipeline, then you would use the same one edit element here, and then you would update the currency to equal US dollar. So if this was the US pipeline. So you could do it like that. Problem is then you've got, if you are using the quoting and the invoicing, then business processes don't have any automation rules associated to them at the moment, or business processes. So if you had the cloud, the restriction would be that it would be in deals only. So that would ensure that every deal that gets created would only show the US dollar. Could you do that in the sales plan for sales targets? I guess not. Again, in the cloud version. So in the analytics, you do have the sales plan, and again, this is focused on sales targets here. So this is where you set your sales agent's targets. But I don't believe that you can specify that this amount is dollars, and then Joe is in the UK here, so hers would be pounds. There isn't that flexibility, unfortunately, to be able to split it like that. If you want to go that far, then you're going to need to have an on-premise version and then use some custom elements in terms of dividing it back up. So that's what we're working on actually for a client of ours. They are using the enterprise version, and the enterprise version of Bitrix obviously creates multiple divisions of Bitrix itself, and we're just working, we've got a splitter now that you can have custom fields relevant for each division of the enterprise model. Is the application store available with the on-premise? I can't seem to find a. Yeah, it certainly is. I can jump into your system, Dean. After, I know you're a customer of ours. I could jump into your system after and just make sure it's on. I guess the only place where I could tell you to have a look. I can't remember what the actual store is here. Let me have a look on one moment, see if I can quickly find it for you. Marketplace. So if I just find Marketplace in here. Let's have a quick look. Bear with me one moment. So this on the on-premise version where I am at the moment, this is where all the modules are switched on and off. But yeah, I'll be able to switch it off for you. I just can't find it in there at the moment. On automation, how do I set up for a task creation to sales coordinator to create an invoice for a specific deal? So, I mean, those are two different things. So if you wanted to create a task for someone to tell them to do something, then you just use the automation rules to create a task. But if you wanted the automation to auto-generate generate a quote, then what you're going to do is there is an automation rule in here for create using source, and that create using source would automatically generate a quote that is associated to a deal. So if you have created a deal that's got products associated to it, a company and a contact associated to it, then you come to this particular stage of the deal you have this automation block create using source, and it can automatically create a quote, and it will automatically associate that quote to the deal itself. So it's quite a good way of doing it rather than having to manually click on the button. If you wanted to create a task, I think you'll be aware of how you can create tasks in here. But if you click task, then this will automatically assign itself to the deal that it's created against, and then you can make somebody responsible for that, telling them what to do in terms of creating the quote itself. But yeah, I would definitely use the create using source. That's quite a good one, and it's quite a good one if you're using the create using source when you close out and win a deal. You can have it auto generate that invoice, and then all your invoices and quotes are available in the list view on there. In the upload template, it indicates star tag 1, star tag 2. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna need to check on that. Do please drop me an email, and I can check and come back to you, because it should be quite straightforward. You should be able to import tasks with. I was just checking on the spreadsheet, but it didn't export my tags because I didn't have them in them right. I didn't export the right column, but it should. I'll have to test it out. I've not imported tags before. Yeah, definitely. I'll get in touch with you, Dean, after. That's absolutely fine. How are the lists available, made available on the menus? I can create lists, but I don't know how to show them on the system. I mean, there is a really simple way of doing it. So I guess if you want all your users to be able to see the same menu as yourself, and that's what I would recommend when you're doing it. So this left hand menu here is going to I would set it up that you want everybody to see, and then when you're referring to lists, you will be referring to, if I go to our employees section, if I can see it, so if I go to employees here, we have the lists menu item on here, and then we have all our lists on here. So if I wanted donations, and let's just say, I mean, this is pretty simple to do. Just take the URL and then configure menu. I mean, you can even add current page to the left menu if you wanted. I tend to like to name it myself, so I want to say donations. Click on here, click paste. You can have it open up in a new tab if you want. And then here, so now it shows. If you're an administrator, what you can do then is set my menu for everybody and make for all users. Click save, and then everybody will see the donations in the left-hand menu. It is quite a simple method to do it, but I think it's quite a good way of ensuring that your menu is consistent throughout. So if I went back to the activity stream, clicked on donations now, that would take me straight to the list itself. So, do Bitrix24 have email automation and email drip? So I guess what you'd need to do for that is you would need to use the automation rules within, if you're doing it on leads or your deals. So let's say, for example, you're in your CRM and you're in leads, and then what you can do is use the automation rules here, and what we can do is, let's get rid of this. So when a new lead gets added to the system, we can drip emails to them by clicking on client communications, click on send email, and then we can say thanks, and then we can say hello, and then add in on the lead the first name, so first name here, and then so on and so forth. So we can write whatever we want in here. If you want to add HTML, you can do, just click on the source code mode, And what that's going to do, it's going to send an email straight away. So we'll call this email 1. And then we can add another one here. So if we add another email, we can copy that one in fact. But instead what we're going to do is we're going to run it in 2 days' time. And we'll run it after the previous automation rule. Otherwise it's just going to do it from 2 days when the leads have been created. And you click on here. And then what you can do again is copy it and drip it again additional 2 days after the previous automation rule. So initial email will come out, be sent out, then in 2 days' time it will send another one out, and then in 2 days' time it will send another one out. Then probably what we would do is automatically move it along, maybe into the second stage. So that will then go email 1, 2 days email, 2 days email. In 2 days, it's going to move it to initial contact. What you could do, instead of moving it to initial contact, you could move it automatically. You could move it automatically into junk. So job lost, and that would move it into the job lost stage here. So you can quickly and easily, if they don't respond, then you can automatically move it as lost. One of the good ones, whilst you're sending emails out of this automation rules as well, do email automation happen on action? Let's say if someone open an email. Yeah, so that's what I was just about to mention. If you click into this email template here, as long as you've got this enable click tracking ticked at the bottom, what you might want to do is click here and then highlight it, and then click on the link tool, and then we can put our interface website, and then maybe we put that link in. So it's going to be an offer link, and we'll have click here for the offer. Then what we can do, click on save, and then in here, so we have triggers at the top. So what we might want to do is, if somebody does click on that link in that email, we might want to automatically move the lead into a particular status. To do that, all we need to do is we click on add in the top of the triggers, and we click on, we can see here you have email viewed. So that's one thing you just mentioned there. Or you have email link clicked. Now if I want to click on here and paste in the link that I have put within that particular email, then what's going to happen is it's automatically, if that person receives that email, if they click that link, it's automatically going to move it to the shown interest follow-up status. So it will move it out of the new lead status and into the shown interest. So that's quite a good way of doing it. That's what the triggers are there for. But you do need to have that email, that clicking tracked checkbox ticked for that, so you can move things along automatically. And there are a whole range of other triggers in here. If you've got Bitrix telephony set up, you can have an incoming call, move it. There are a whole different range of triggers in here. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Some other people, instead of doing it after one another, some people tend to have one email, then change status, and then have another email, and move it along through the lead, the different stages in here. Does trigger work on chat? Yeah, I'm not sure. Let's have a look. I can't see it, no, it doesn't look like it at the moment. So that's a shame, because it should, theoretically it should do, because Bitrix have as long as somebody puts their email in the chat, then you can obviously move it along. That's how the CRM form submission works. So if they were to fill a CRM form, you can move it along. But yeah, it's a good point. Maybe we'll ask Bitrix for that. I also had issues trying to load into Google Contacts into the CRM. Am I right in assuming I use the custom CSV, or can you do it via the specific Gmail CSV? I haven't used the Gmail CSV import in all honesty. So I always use the custom CSV import just because it's easy to control and it's easy to set up. What I would always recommend doing is creating all your custom fields for your contacts in Bitrix, and then what you can do is then once you've created all your fields that you want, you can then select them by clicking on the cog at the top of the contacts table. Everything in blue is the fields that you want to import. Click on apply, and then from that fill in one contact with all of the fields that you want and then export it. So if you click on export to CSV, don't select either of these and then just click on run, and what that will do is it will export all of your column headers here that you've got selected. So everything, when I click on the cog, then everything in blue will export. That gives you then the perfect template for your CSV import to import back into Bitrix, because importing in a CSV, it's so simple to do. I mean, if I download an import file here and just choose that and choose download, I don't think that's the one. Let's have a look. Date modified. There we go. Contact CSV. So you can choose which ones you want in here. But if you click on next, what it's going to do is on the left hand side are all your column headers, and on the right hand side are all the fields that you map to in Bitrix. So if these are empty, then all you do need to do, so this is your column header in your CSV, you can just find the fields that you want to map to Bitrix. So I'd recommend doing it that. You do have a lot of control and you can ensure everything is going into the right place then. How can I add a drop-down field to leads within a pipeline? My goal is to allow agents to mark the call result as a disposition. If possible, how do I export this data time and specific to the activity? So you can't add custom fields to activities, but you can add custom fields obviously to the deal itself. So I guess what you'd need to do is, I mean, the only way to do it would be to add a custom field on a deal. So you go to CRM settings, form and report settings, custom fields, and then you can add any custom field in here. So you add a drop down by selecting the list. So you can see in here, when I select list, it pops up with this tab up at the top here, and you can enter in all your options, and then I can say call reason, and then you might want to create another field that's a date and time stamp, and then you can go and show it in your deals then. So if I went into a specific deal, then you can select field, and if I scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll be able to find call reason, and then in here I can select the rejected, approve and Twitter options that I got. I mean, you can do it via that method. I like to do it via the CRM settings because then I can see all the custom fields I've created. You can create custom fields this way as well. So if you click on add field here, give it a date and time, but they would need to ensure that they selected it and date. Click on save, and then they can add a date and time in here. So in fact, yeah, this is just a date field. I guess we'd need to add the time as well, but there is a date time custom field. So you can't add custom fields to activities in here on the cloud version anyway. Sorry, for a call. You can add, we have added previously custom fields in here. So where you've got type outbound call, we have added a custom field for on the on-premise version, but you would need to have an on-premise version of Bitrix. And just to point out, with regards to the deal pipelines, so you can see this is in Cloud Opportunities pipeline. whatever layout that I set in here, so I've got call, reason and date, if I then switch to another pipeline on premise and have a look in this particular one, then you won't see call, reason and date. You can set the layouts of your deals on a pipeline by pipeline basis. So I'm an administrator on this system. I have select field, add field, delete section. I can change the names of the sections. And the main importance is that I am in common form view. So the common form view is the view that everybody sees, and as an administrator you can set it up. So you can set the layout of your deal card for each pipeline, and when your normal sales agent that isn't an administrator comes in, they will just see the fixed view that you as an administrator has set. So it's quite good. It's definitely a good way of handling your sales in deal pipelines. Is there a way to create a dashboard graph to illustrate list volume per a custom field? For example, if I create a disposition field, the dashboard shows me how many leads are marked per status. Yeah, you can do that in CRM Analytics. So if you went into your analytics here and had a look at your sales funnel, then in here what you can do is you can find that custom field that I've just created called call reason, I think it was. So you can see call reason here. That will then bring it up into this top widget up here. And then if I select all rejected, if I remove everything out, I think I added it into the Bitrix24 add-ons pipeline, or it might have been in the cloud. Click into search. So you can see in here, oh, that's the lead, sorry. In the deals, then there are none. So I didn't have a rejected. If I went back to my CRM into the cloud, and let's have a look. Click on reason is rejected. And if we went back into our analytics, then into sales funnel, so you can see here, that's the one I've just modified. So that's how you do it. I mean, you create in this dashboard. The good thing with the CRM Analytics module is because you have access to every field that gets created in here. So that's quite a good way of doing it. We talked about the trigger work on the chat for the automation. New incoming leads, it wouldn't really make sense for a new incoming lead to trigger. How retargeting in ad networks work. So yeah, you can retarget. You do need so what we're referring to here is in the CRM marketing. So you can retarget in these networks. So they do need to be logged into these networks, and what you can do is you can add the specific people into so you can create lists to retarget to. So if you have a Facebook ad running and you want to retarget one of your leads that has come through, then as long as the email in the list is associated to the Facebook account, you can retarget your ads based on Facebook and Google AdWords. Again, they have to be logged into a Google account for the AdWords. How email template gets saved for all employees. So, I mean, we have templates in the CRM marketing. That's quite straightforward. For email templates with regards to the CRM is if you go into the settings in here and then click into email, and then we have email templates. So if you're sending emails from the CRM quite often, then you can create a new one in here. So we can call it Bitrix24 Live April, just in case I've got one called that. You bind it to a lead deal contact company. The reason why you do that is because then it's only available when you go into a contact. If you want to make it available to everybody, then you just click on the save available to everybody at the top up here, and then Bitrix24 live reminder. We can then set the body. Again, you can put your own email templates in here. Just click on HTML and you can import them in. Click on first name, and then we can say attend tomorrow. And then what we do here, so these are really useful. Each user in the system, in the CRM, can create their own templates. Click on save. So I bound that to a contact. Now if I go to the contacts here, what we can do is go to Andy at the top here, click on email, and then in this template section at the top, I should be able to see Bitrix24 live April, which is the one I've just made. And then I can see in here that we have the Bitrix24 live reminder. Hello Andy, pulling the first name from the contact. And you can have these templates in leads, deals, contacts, companies. So they are really useful. With regards to test 2, what you can see here, just to point out for those of you that are unaware, is, in webmail, you can click in here, set edit signature, and you'll be able to see our test 2 signature here. So you can put your own logos in and things like that to make them useful. We use Bitrix Intensive, but we need to be able to handle epics, milestones, and user stories in a project. I'm not 100% sure what you mean by those with regards to milestones, user stories in a project. Maybe if you clarify what those mean. Sorry, I'm not familiar with those terms. Can I upload a HTML website pre-built file? I don't believe so. No. So if the sites module, I think the sites module only allow you to create your own. Oh, looks like it's not open. Let's have a look. Create site. So it doesn't look like it's online at the minute. But I don't believe that you can add your own HTML website. No. It might. I mean, it probably would be possible. Don't know why you would do it in the on-premise. You can because you have access to the individual files and folders within here, but no, unfortunately you wouldn't be able to on the cloud version. How can one push the deadlines forward in task by different time ranges? Good question. If you want to do it in bulk, I'm not too sure. I mean, what you could possibly do is, I mean, you do have this feature in tasks now where if you wanted to move this back from April 28th to due next week, then click in here, you can now see that it's automatically moved it to May the 8th. So there is a way of doing, if I wanted to, again. So that's quite quick and easy to do. Another way that you might want to do it is if it's in a project, you're going to have the Kanban view. So if we click into workgroups and click into a project, then click into tasks. The tasks have a Kanban view. So we have this that's in here. And these are the tasks that are all associated to this project. Possibly what you could do is you could have a stage that said update deadline. And for that, what you could do is edit the task. And edit the task, what you would do is you would get the deadline and you would push it to however many days that you want to set after let's just say the deadline. So we're going to push back all tasks in this particular project 5 days after the deadline date. So you can see here it gives you this little bit of code again. So that would mean, and we can label it, so push deadline 5 days. What you might want to do as well, let me see if it's got the option. No, I don't think it does. So let me click on save and then come out of here. And then if we go into this particular one, let's see what the deadline is on this. It doesn't have one. So let's say the 30th today. Give it a quick refresh. Then in here, if we move it, click into, you can see there it's moved automatically to May 5th. So it's gone from the 30th today to May 5th. That's another way of doing it. You don't have to just do it in the Kanban either. So this is on a project by project, but you might want to be able to do it in your task planner. So your planner also has the automation rule. So if you've got all your own tasks that you want to push back, click into here and do the same thing. Edit task. We can't use templates created in the CRM marketing section. I don't know why, in all honesty. The only reason why you shouldn't be able to use CRM marketing templates is maybe because you need to set up a sender. Could be possible. So if you've created a template in here, so for example our Halloween one and our post-webinar template, if you want to use these, when you click on create, I mean you should be able to see them. When I click on email campaign, if you scroll to the bottom here, then you should be able to see them in my templates. If you don't, then you've done something wrong when you've created the template itself. But I've never seen it not being visible here. So scroll down and then you'll be able to see this. And I can bring that template in and you can see. So yeah, that's the. Maybe if we've got a couple of minutes left, so you might want to explain what do you mean by you can't use them. You should be able to. I mean, as long as you need access permissions, I do believe as well. So if you click on add, then in fact anybody looks like if you've got access to the system, if you've got access to the CRM marketing, then you can create templates. In site function, how can we upload an open market template? You can't, in all honesty. So you are restricted in the sites module to be able to use the templates. I did actually see an application yesterday with regards to using one of the. Let's have a look in here. I've not used this application, so please be aware. Click on landings, which is the module name for sites. I did see one here, site template, and it's pretty much if you use on ThemeForest. I'm aware of ThemeForest. And if you click on here, you can see that there are some templates in here. So maybe that could be useful if you don't want to use a Bitrix template. We have projects with hundreds of tasks and subtasks, but we would like to have a way to organize user requirements as well and be able to have milestones to measure progress of the project. I mean, to measure milestones of the project, then you're going to need to probably use project stages. Maybe drop an email. I'll put our contact details up at the top of this at the end of this session because it's coming to a close now. But maybe send us an email with a little bit more detail. It's quite hard to just go on the fly to just fix that, but it definitely will be manageable if you use Bitrix for hundreds of tasks. That's great, and they can be organised in a way and set milestones. So maybe just drop your contact details over to us at the end. What is the use of the knowledge bases? So this is probably the last question. The use of the knowledge bases, and can be used for anything really. I mean, we use it for licensing information. If somebody contacts us, we need to know quickly and get access to license information. So they're essentially a place where you can put knowledge-based articles that you can search. Now, Bitrix have very recently, just introduced the ability to get access to them in different modules. So I'm going to follow up with this on Tuesday. But what you can do now is, if you had a knowledge base created for sales scripts, then your sales guys can quickly and easily access that knowledge base from the CRM now. You can select which knowledge bases you want to show in the CRM. But I keep saying sales scripts. You click on here, you can say, oh, so I'm in the CRM, somebody's called up, they want a Bitrix24 license. You can click in here and go professional license, click there. It will bring up that article with all the pricing list. I can see that information and directly answer the person that's called up. That's what they're used for. They're internal sites, they're internal knowledge base storage places. Oh, right, you meant, can you use email templates created in CRM marketing section in the CRM? You can't. No, you can't. I mean, one way of doing it, it's a little bit of a workaround, is you can send yourself a marketing email and then right-click and inspect it, or view page source. You can copy the HTML out of the template that you created and then paste it in to an email. So if I went into automation rules here, click into one of these emails that I created earlier, and then you can just go source code mode here and paste it in. It is a workaround. At the moment, there are no ways that you can grab those templates and put them into here, unfortunately. That would be really good. But the workaround is create the template, send yourself a test email, right-click and inspect or view the page source if you know anything about HTML, and send it, paste it into here. So yeah, that's it. I had quite a lot of questions today. Thank you very much for your time. Those are our contact details. As I mentioned right at the beginning, if you missed out, my name is Andy and I'm the support manager here at Intraface. We're Bitrix24 Gold Partners, and we have an office in the US, the UK and the UAE. So please do get in touch with us if you're looking at getting Bitrix, if you have any questions. We offer training, support, a whole range of different services. So please do get in touch. We have these sessions every Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So do please come back every week if you do have questions that need answering. I can show you live on screen. And we also have sessions on a Tuesday just while most people are working remotely. The Tuesday session focuses on remote working, so we can give some handy tips and useful information for helping you with that. So thanks very much. Hopefully see you on Tuesday for the next live session.